Welcome back, everyone, and Happy New Year. This piece had great bones, but no future, at least not the obvious one. Let me show you what happens when you rethink everything. I'm back, at least back from the weekend. It's just before Christmas, and I'm wondering if I can finish this before Christmas. I'm not sure, but I've done a piece like this, at least something similar, a couple years ago, and it's something I repurposed into something else. It requires a little bit of creativity and problem solving, which I love to do. Let me show you what I got. Now this is part of a set. And I want to repurpose it into more of an entryway table. It's perfect for a smaller hallway. These do slide. It has that blonde finish, which was, again, super popular during its time. But I want to, and I sanded down just a little part of it. It's not the most beautiful wood. I may just sand it down and give it a paint wash, or I may paint it. I don't know yet. But I also want to add a shelf down here. I probably will take a good chunk of this off, cut it up here, and then change the base a little bit so it has legs. Right now it just has the board going all the way down, so I may cut it. I don't know, it's kind of fun to do. Again, I don't know if I want to paint it or not. We'll see. But then again, I don't know if I want to sand the whole thing down, because that would also require me to sand down the inside of it, and I really don't know if I want to do that. All right, you guys know what's next, right? Let's do this. So let's talk about what this piece actually is. This is a mid-century modern headboard, originally part of a full bedroom set, typically paired with a dresser or nightstands and sometimes a matching chest. Pieces like this were most common from the 1950s through the early 1960s, when furniture design shifted toward cleaner lines, simple forms, and practical storage built right into the design. What I love about these headboards is that they're often made to be functional beyond just a bed with drawers, cubbies, or shelving, long before multifunctional furniture was trendy. I wonder if I just take this whole thing off. Let's take a look. What is going on under it? I could probably use this piece as the actual shelf. I think that's what I'm gonna do. What do I need? I need perfect. But once these sets get broken up over time, the headboard is usually the first thing to get left behind. It's too big, too specific, and people aren't always sure what to do with it. That's where repurposing comes in. One of the things I really try to do in my shop is to work with what I already have, and that includes both scrap wood and parts of the original piece whenever it makes sense. This headboard was never meant to stand on its own the way I'm repurposing it now, so the legs it originally had just weren't quite enough to support the scale or the weight of the finished piece. Rather than starting from scratch with brand new lumber, I'm pulling from two places: scraps I already have on hand and sections of the original piece that are still solid and usable. That way, I'm not only reducing waste, but I'm also keeping some of the original DNA of this piece intact. My goal here isn't to overbuild it. It's to create legs that feel more proportionate, more intentional, and structurally sound enough to support the piece long term. A lot of this process is test fitting, stepping back, and making small adjustments until it feels right. And once these are built up and blended in, the finished piece will feel grounded, like it was always meant to stand this way. once I secure those, we'll use this. This panel right here was originally part of the front of the headboard, and instead of setting it aside or cutting it down for scrap, I wanted to see if I could repurpose it. Structurally, it's still solid, and visually, it already belongs to this piece. So the idea is to reuse it as the lower shelf, which does a couple things at once. It adds stability, it balances the proportions, and it keeps more of the original material at play. Right now, this part of the process is less about tools and more about problem solving. I'm trying to figure out where it feels right visually, how high it needs to sit, and how to attach it in a way that feels intentional, not like an afterthought. There are a few ways I could install it, but I want whatever method I choose to be strong, clean, and something I won't have to over-explain later. Once this shelf is locked in, the entire piece starts to feel grounded, and from here on out, everything else builds off of that. Just to hold it in place. See how high I want to go. All right. At this point, I knew I didn't want the legs to feel pieced together or improvised. I wanted them to look intentional, like they were always meant to be one solid form. So instead of butting boards together, I'm cutting 45-degree miter joints on the table saw. This lets the wood wrap around itself, creating a clean, uniform leg with no visible seams on the corners. Mitering the edges does a couple things here. Structurally, it gives me more glue surface. Visually, it makes the leg read as one solid piece of wood instead of multiple boards stacked together. This part is definitely more setup than speed, making sure each cut is precise, dry fitting everything before glue, and checking that the corners close up tight. The goal isn't to hide the work, it's to make it disappear. I want these legs to feel grounded, balanced, and proportionate, not like an afterthought or a puzzle that just happened to fit. Once these are assembled, the whole piece instantly feels more intentional. It's one of those changes that's subtle at first, but it completely changes how the piece is read. Okay, that works. Lots of progress today. I'm working on these legs. I'm just making them a little beefier, and I mitered the joints so it's going to sit flush with each other. I still need to do, a couple of the back ones on the side. I just ran out of wood, but it's getting there. And then I will fit in the bottom shelf. I'm contemplating just painting it, and the reason why is the wood is going to be a different tone, different species. Let me think on that. Okay, I got the shelf on. Okay, I'm gonna put some trim on here. So let's get this out. There. So I'm just gonna trim these off. Right there. Try this again. There we go. I'm going to show you how I can make these seams disappear. You're going to put in a little bit of glue and then sand it. Just going to use my fingers. I don't have the proper nozzle for my glue. Got a nice seam now, and you see down here we still need to do some, but that looks good. Didn't get it done before Christmas. It is what it is, but I'm gonna get the rest of these seams cleaned up. I'm going to use some of my sawdust and glue. Shouldn't take too long, but hopefully I'll be able to get that done. So, fairly easy project today. Still haven't really decided on a color. I still need a few more pieces for trim, but we're almost there. So I'm gonna get this done. Here we go. Anytime I'm adding trim or small detail pieces like this, it's all about slowing down just a bit, measuring twice, dry fitting, and making sure everything lines up before I commit. These pieces might seem minor, but they're what hold the whole thing together. Clean edges, consistent spacing, and trim that feels intentional, not decorative for the sake of it. This is also the part of the process where I'm constantly learning. Every cut, every adjustment, it all adds up. One of my goals over the next year is to actually take a woodworking class or course. I know there are some really great ones out there, especially programs geared toward women, and I'd love to be in a space like that. Not just to learn new skills, but to connect with other people who love working with their hands, building things, figuring things out as they go. I've learned so much just by doing projects like this, but there's something really exciting about the idea of learning alongside others, sharing mistakes, tips, and maybe a few "why didn't I think of that sooner" moments. For now, though, it's back to measuring, cutting, and taking this one step at a time, because these little details are what turn a project into a finished piece. Did I put the wrong one on? I don't think I did. I might have put the wrong one on. I think I did. Woo! Well, let's take that one off. Sometimes you screw up. That's all right. This one can just go back here. I need to get rid of this little excess right here. So I'm going to use my Japanese pull saw. And it's perfect. Just let it do its work. Oh, I think I'll get the bigger one though. Perfect. I'm gonna put some primer on. And I'm just gonna roll it and brush it. A lot of times too, after you prime it, it's easy to kind of see some of the imperfections, like if you need to fill in anything. This is Melange Paints stain blocking primer. They have white and gray. This is actually just a mix of some black paint in it, so I can get it to be gray. But yeah, you can also buy the gray. I usually just get white and then tint it if I need to for any dark pieces. Always, always, always do a sanding in between your primer or even in between each coat, just because you might get some things that settle on top. You want that really smooth finish, so a good sanding, I use 220, is just perfect. What do you guys think? Hot pink. Why not, right? Now that's a fun color. Who wouldn't want a pop of color like that in their house? Remember, this is only the first coat, so let's see how this dries. Now, I know you may be a little shocked by this color. If you followed me for a while, this probably wasn't what you were expecting. That's part of why I love it so much. This color is called October by Melange Paints, and it felt like the perfect choice for this piece. It's warm, grounded, and earthy, but still refined. Depending on the light, it shifts. Sometimes it feels more clay, sometimes more terracotta, and I love how much depth it has. It's bold, but not loud. And what makes this even more special is where this piece started. This was originally a headboard, and headboards are one of those pieces that so often get overlooked. They're hard to sell, hard to repurpose, and they usually end up being passed over or left behind. But when I saw this one, I knew it still had a purpose. I could see the potential in the structure, the storage, and the scale. It just needed to be rethought. So I focused on giving it better proportions and stronger support. I rebuilt the leg structure, added a lower shelf, reused parts of the original piece, and made sure everything felt intentional, not pieced together, not an afterthought. I also chose to reuse the original hardware. It had great character, and once everything else was updated, it felt like the right way to honor where this piece came from. This isn't just a refinished piece. It's a second life for something that might have otherwise been forgotten. And that's really what I love most about this process. If you enjoyed this makeover, I'd love it if you'd give this video a thumbs up, leave a comment, or share it with someone who loves furniture flips as much as I do. And if you are not already subscribed, I'd love for you to stick around. There are lots more projects like this coming. Thanks so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one.